Morning has broken. These words were written on my first morning here at the Abbey. The Abbey is still there, but empty. The sun still rises and falls, and time goes on, and each day has its grace, not to be missed again, for this day will never come a second time, nor will the grace we miss. O quietude, unruffled, O vast space of sanctity awaiting to be filled. What days, what hours await in this still place the trickling of our thoughts? O thing unwilled of what is part of us, yet wanted well by what is there, was there, neath many sighs. Thou dost redeem lost seconds with a bell that bids the heart to better things arise. O nightmare of a dream, say 'tis not so, that we must start a journey oft begun, and on a day, the days of Sisyph know, to be in spending spent with little one. We are a life in living a mistake, and learn towards the end the road to take. Venetima, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, et spes nostra salve. A te clamamus, exones filii Eve, a te suspiramus, gementes et flentes, in hac lacrimarum valle. Ea ergo advocata nostra, illos tuos misericordes oculos ad nos converte, et Iesum benedictum fructum ventris tui, nobis post hoc exilium ostende. O clemens, O pia, O dulcis Virgo Maria. Here in front of the grotto we would often pray, and here the crowds would park. They would find any spot they could, all around here and inside, and any place where there was room. And I remember how on a Saturday evening the church would be packed, and people would come on anything they could find. A bicycle, a tractor, anything that would move, and they'd all end up around here. And people, great and small, would pray together. And there would be prayer even oftentimes all night. It was simple Irish devotion, but nevertheless it brought them to heaven. And I remember the hidden saints that I had known. There was the likes of Tommy Ash, who would sit at the back of the Adoration Chapel and pray quietly, reading prayers, and he would stop me as I was going out and put a few Irish punts in my hand and say, "I'm a dealer." In other words, he would give the proceeds of what he'd just dealt in animals to anything that he could for the Lord and make no noise about it. These hidden saints that the world will never know. Indeed, I was talking to somebody the other day who was commenting how when he was very young he was wanting a lift. I think he must have thumbed one, and he was picked up by Tommy Ash, and he just said, "But let's just say the Angelus," and so they started the Angelus, and of course that went into the full rosary, and this young man was interested. And then as they were going through the rosary, he could feel something licking at his ear. And there were two sheep in the back of the van as they were saying the rosary, licking at his ear. And here we have the Abbey, and my little cell at the top there, still there but empty. It was quiet here, and as you can hear, only animals filled the empty noise. But in that emptiness much was heard, and life was simple in those days. There weren't any telephones worth talking about, especially in one's pocket, and I didn't have access much to the outside world. It was quiet, and we need to recuperate that stillness, for life is what we make it, and in simplicity there is a richness that we have lost with our great complexity. Oh, for the days of quiet Erin of old. And I remember that here was the spot where it hit me that it was right. This was very quiet, and it was a summer afternoon, and I was in retreat. The novice master had given me, while I was in discernment, a book on the premonstratensions, and because it was fine, I was actually on my elbow or sitting in some way on the warm grass in the sun and reading this book, and I got to a point where it summed up the whole of the vocation. It quoted St. Thomas Aquinas, "Contemplari et contemplata aliis tradere," to contemplate and to hand on to others the contemplated things. And I looked up, and there was at the time a notice, of course gone down now, a big sign saying, pointing to it, Holy Trinity Abbey. And I looked up, and it seemed to say, after I came from that page, that way is safe. And indeed it did lead to eventual ordination and good studies and quiet times with Jesus, able then to be heard and transmitted in preaching. For the big difference between the premonstratensian and the Cistercian way is that although the timetable might be very similar and the practice is similar inside, the gaps between the offices are spent not in manual work, but in working upon souls. And that's what hit me, the maximum use of time.